So, I told you all in my next video I would tell you about my paranormal experience because I want to hear about yours. So, I was living with my grandmother at the time, and my room was in the basement of the house. And she lives on like a second street. Down below her is like a street, and then up above her is a street. And at nighttime, I would go out the basement door, go for walks, everything like that, because she lived in a pretty safe neighborhood. And I would walk from her house up the street, and then around the corner and up to the top street, and then back around, come back, one big loop, easy. And up on the top street, up in the woods a little bit, there's a really old cemetery, super old. Well, I had always made this trip a couple times, and one night it just felt uneasy. Like, I got to the top street and it just felt like I was being watched, followed, and I couldn't figure it out. I kept looking around, didn't see nothing. It's weird. So, I decided, well, this is a little uncomfortable, so I'll head back, cut the walk a little short and just head back. Well, on the way back, I just kept getting the feeling I was being watched. So, I kept walking and walking, and I just kept getting the feeling I was being watched. And finally, I turned around, and underneath one of the streetlights, there stood a little girl. Weird. I hollered out at her like, it's nighttime, and she looked pretty young. And I was like, hey, do your parents know you're out? Are you okay? Do you need help? Nothing. Didn't respond. Not a single word. So I was like, okay, well, if she's not going to answer, obviously she must be okay, so I'm going to keep walking. So I get to the part of the road, or the part of my grandma's road where it meets the road to go up. And I look back, and she's still underneath the street light, but just a couple street lights closer. So I'm like, okay, this is it's weird. I'm just going to keep going. If she follows me, whatever, no big deal. So I keep walking, and I get halfway down the road that my grandma lives on, and I turn to look, and she's standing at the end of the road now. She has moved to the end of the road, just watching me. And I hollered at her again, like, hey, I'm heading home. I don't know why you're following me. I don't know what's going on, but it's probably best if you head home. Nothing. No words from this girl. So I'm like, okay, this is freaking me out. So I start like power walking. I'm like, oh, God, okay, this is weird. I want to get back inside. Walking, just like And so then I go down over the hill to the end of the driveway that leads into the basement. And I go down over the hill into the driveway towards the basement door. I get to the basement door and I turn and look. She is now standing at the end of the driveway. And I'm like, no, absolutely not. I'm not, I've seen plenty of horror movies. I know how this goes. Not doing it. No, absolutely not. So I get inside the door, and there's one of those, I can't really say screen doors because it doesn't have a screen door on it, but it's like one of them outside weather doors. It's just one big sheet of glass with a frame, and then the actual door that kind of looks like that right there, but instead it's like the whole thing see-through. The whole oval shape is see-through. So I get in, shut that weather door, whatever you want to call it, shut the big door and lock it. And I'm like, okay, I'm good, I'm back inside. But I still kept getting that feeling that I was being watched. So I turned to look, and there she is, just like right at the door, just like at the door. But then I noticed like half of her face is just mangled, and it looked like she'd been in a terrible accident. And my heart was just pounding, and she's just sitting there staring through the glass and disappeared.